Welcome, everyone, to the Game Vault Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Schuster. Joining me tonight are Jenny Aquino and Mark Myers.
Hello, Internet.
Tonight, we'll be discussing 40 years of Mario, draft a fantasy kart racer, and review our Retro Roulette game, Starfox, for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. But before we get to all of that, Mark, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so start off here, because I'm literally hot off playing Hades 2. I was telling Tom before we started the podcast, I literally got to the final boss room, and it was like 9:23, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hold off, because I don't know how long this fight is.
Good idea.
And, the two people on this podcast with me have children. So we don't have hey, I'll be 15 minutes, good, in terms of being late. So, yeah, I got to the big boss. If any of you have ever played Hades or any of the Hades out there, you know that there's more stuff to do than the final boss. So I'm not done with the game after this. But I'm curious to see what happens if I do win, what the thing is. Because as I mentioned when I played through the early access, and I mentioned it was one of my favorite moments on the podcast, on Game of the Year last year, you also go up to the surface in this game as well as down. So there's two things to beat. So I am excited to see what happens. I'm probably not going to win this one, but yeah. So Hades 2 is amazing. I'm going to have to sit down and think long and hard for Game of the Year between this and Expedition 33, because they are vastly different games in terms of what they bring to the table. But Hades is almost a perfect roguelike, or, run-based game, or whatever you want to call it. And, Expedition 33 is one of the best RPGs that I've played in a long, long time. So, but yeah, working my way through that. Hopefully by the time we do the news hour, you guys may have already heard that I beat the boss before this comes out. But this is where I was right before that moment occurred. And so the other thing, we unfortunately did not do Mega Man 3 this week. I had a bit of a headache, laid down after taking some evil Tylenol. And
Oh my gosh, are you okay, Mark?
I'm okay. I like trains now for some reason. So and then when I woke up is when I texted Tom. It's like at like 10 o'clock. I was like, oops, no stream. I just woke up. Okay. So yeah, we'll get into that. But as I said on the news hour, but I'll bring up to you guys, I think my main thing with Mega Man 3 so far is every time I go back to it, I keep forgetting about the slide mechanic. And it's kind of a big deal in that game. So it takes me like 5-10 minutes to get back into a flow with the combat. But I'm liking it. It still has not surpassed 2 for me. I still love 2 the most. And then we got a little more progress in Trails in the Sky, second chapter. We're getting some real nice backstory on a couple of the people. And I love doing my really terrible French accent for Olivier in there. There's 2 ongoing things for those of you to watch the stream. I do my really terrible French accent for Olivier, which I think sometimes borders into other accents because I'm terrible at accents. And also, anytime the word WHOA comes up, I have to do it as Joey from Blossom, and have to go whoa every single time. So those are the 2 things going on that podcast. And Scree, if that ever comes up again. But yeah, that game's amazing. I'm already looking into buying, the third or whatever the third game in the series is called, and get that scheduled. The one thing off stream that I've been playing, I downloaded the trial for FC 26. Not to bore all the non-sports ball people listening to the podcast. I talk enough about that on the news hour. But this game, the soccer feels better. The goalies are a lot more, let's say, smart. There's probably a better word for it this year. So it makes it a little more entertaining. And the presentation has gone like top notch. I'll give one example, and Tom will appreciate this. So I was playing a road match, and I scored like the first goal, and they showed the highlight, and then they cut to a bar in my town celebrating the goal. My fans. And I was just like, that's great. That is such a good TV presentation, thing for a soccer thing. I was like, that's so good. It might get boring after a while, maybe. Who knows? You play enough games. But I was just like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And they've done a lot of quality of life stuff for those of you that play FC. You can now just do a shortened intro. You don't have to watch all the player introduction and all that stuff. It'll do like show your players coming in, talk about the best player, and then go into the match. So good quality of life there. And they made some things to make it easier. They allow you to, when you scout, you get everything the first time you scout instead of having to scout them multiple times to get all their stats. So, accessibility stuff. But yeah. Outside of that, that's what I've been playing. I mean, I'm going to have Sonic Crosswords probably coming up sometime soon. And then we got all those other insane stuff that's coming out in the next 2 months that I'll probably be trying to get my hands on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out in the next. All right, Jen, what have you been playing?
So I've been playing had been playing a few new games and then a few typical games for myself. Little bit of Phasmo. Still no newness there in terms of that new diner map. It's not out yet. Dead by Daylight released a new chapter with a new killer and survivor. They're both originals, although the killer is inspired by it's called the Krisu. It's I guess like a demon from, I want to say, Thai culture. I don't 100% remember because it's been a while since I've read about the chapter itself. But the Krisu basically is in human form, and then when they turn into a demon, it's really gruesome. Tom, you would love this.
Oh, I can't wait.
Their head detaches from their body, and you basically have like their spinal column floating, like think Mortal Kombat finishing move, basically. You just have a floating head with a spinal column, and then like all of the entrails just like flopping around underneath it, like a jellyfish with a human head, I guess, essentially.
Totally
gross.
into that. Totally ready for that.
Yeah. So crazy to be chased around by a floating head. But also extremely overpowered currently. She has an ability. She's kind of like a mix of different killers right now, which I guess there's so many killers at this point, it's bound to happen, but she can infect you. And unfortunately, in order to infect you, similar to Plague, how Plague throws up on you, she shoots some kind of projectile at you, and it's auto aim projectile.
Oh, that's
so it's like that part just blew my mind. Like, why is this necessary in Dead by Daylight? It's not. I was in a room trying to loop the killer around a structure, and they just like came into the room, shot their projectile into the room at me. It did like a pool table maneuver where it just bounced off a bunch of walls and hit me. I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? It is ridiculous. So yeah, she can transform in between her human form and her floating head form. And it's I don't even understand her abilities fully, but it's extremely difficult to counter her right now. She also, I believe she just went through a nerf because she was so overpowered, and she still has another one coming up soon as well. But initially she was really quick going over pallets and windows, and it was just like insane. I don't know what the heck they were doing, but I have barely gone up against her, with that being said. However, other people are saying that she's all they're facing right now. So there's just a lot of frustration going on, I guess, around the new killer, unless you're a killer main, and then I guess you're having a really great time. I don't know. But yeah, that's been interesting. What else? I played a new...
One question.
Sure.
I was waiting for you to finish your Dead by Daylight. Have they removed the shape yet from Dead by Daylight?
Oh, I'm glad that you mentioned that. They haven't. I don't think that they're going to, because I feel like we would have heard about it by now, because that new game is now confirmed to release in less than a year now.
By the way, why? I want to get your opinion on this. Jen. Why announce that game now?
To get people excited for it, I guess, and maybe taking advantage of. Yeah, I think I think there's one thing that people should have learned from VHS failing. It's that the more you could talk about your game, the better. Like get the word
Okay.
out. I think that's part of it.
That can backfire too, because if you put out a teaser too early and you don't give enough information, people will start making up their own version of what it's supposed to be.
And
And
have
if it's
ridiculous
not
expectations.
exactly, and if it's not
Yeah.
that, then they'll be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
I've
see
seen
that.
I've seen that a lot.
I think with this, the developers are people aren't super happy with the developers because they tend to just abandon their games,
Yeah.
apparently, when they're not doing so hot. Like immediately they're like, okay, we're done. So they're not happy about that. So I don't know if it's they're just trying to get people excited about it ahead of time. They've been releasing little bits of information on the game. Like apparently there's a story mode. Maybe they're trying to make sure people know that it stands out from Dead by Daylight because I don't know, the Dead by Daylight crowd, you know how they were with VHS. It was just like, we're the only ones that are allowed to exist in the space. And I feel like people are excited for this new game.
I don't get the griefing either. It just doesn't
Me
make any
neither.
sense.
It's
to me.
very
Like
gatekeepy and weird.
it's very weird. Like there's no reason why both games can't exist.
No, there's none.
That whole thing. I felt like if it could have been a Game Awards thing, and then people wouldn't have thought it was coming out in October. That's my only thing.
That's true.
Announcing it before October. It was the problem.
I was surprised. I was surprised that it was going to be coming out in September of next year.
Yeah.
It was disappointing. I was hoping that it would be a lot sooner than that, but I get why they're launching it for, spooky season, but still.
That announcement and the fact that they didn't give Sean Brown an Apple box to stand next to Sid in their camera thing from that State of Play. Tom knows what I'm talking about. Might have been
this really bothered Mark. Like he brought it
he's
up.
Like 6'4", and this girl's like 5'2", and they put them in the same camera shot. And I'm like, give her.
So she was basically a floating head.
No.
They pushed her forward towards the camera.
Oh,
yeah. And I'm just like, just give her something to stand on.
That's funny.
Anyway, I needed to share that with Jen because I had not shared that with Jen. That was. I missed an entire game because I was like just confused. It wasn't a good game.
He also brought it up on the News Hour, and now he's bringing it up again. So clearly, it really bothered him.
It's out of your system now, maybe.
I watched so much of people reacting to it, and every time it got me.
That's so funny.
It's just. It was just At least they did that where she wasn't a floating head.
Sure.
But it was just so weird. And then I realized on like my third or fourth watch, and this is the last thing, and I'll let you get back to your game. Sorry, Jen, for tangenting this.
It's okay.
That they literally did the graphics around them to sort of take away the upper, like sort of the top of her head. They had like some kind of graphic thing come down and like stop right here, so it didn't look like there was just giant white space between them.
There was a lot of thought put into this.
Yeah, there was a lot of thought put into it, but it was one thing.
Not enough for Mark.
Out of my system.
Nope. Too much of the wrong thought was put into it.
But anyway, then my second watch back of the thing was when I realized how insane them announcing a Halloween game before October and telling us it's not coming out till next September, and I was like, this could have you could have done this at the Game Awards in December and gotten the same pop, and not people like going, oh man, is this coming out like Halloween? Like,
I agree with that. I think that it could have been really awesome to find out it's about to come out, but yeah. But
anyway, you played. I think I saw you playing another game on stream.
I did, yeah. Really quick, just to add an update about the shape, Michael Myers in Dead by Daylight. They gave him a speed boost, like a lunge mechanic. Michael Myers always running around, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Did they make him float like a wraith, like they might as well in the Halloween game?
They might as well have. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's a change as well. I played 2 brand new games recently. One is called Lost Luminosity, which is it took me like an hour and 15 minutes to beat this game. It's a really small indie horror game. It is about your character playing as, it's a first person. So you're playing as the son of a woman who passed away. So you're going through her apartment and you're just piecing together a really dark backstory about yourself and your family that you didn't know existed. And obviously the house is haunted by some sort of entities. And it's one of those, it's not an escape room game necessarily, but it kind of has that vibe where you're trying to find hints to get to the next room or find a key or, watching a tape and whatever. It wasn't terribly hard to figure out either, which was nice. It was a little challenging at times. However, the jump scares in this game were so cheap is really, I feel like cheap is a little aggressive, but they were the kind of jump scares where when you picked something up that was important or you figured out a piece of information and you turned around, immediately something was running down the hallway at you, screaming and making this crazy loud noise. And it was going so fast you could barely see what it was. It was just something to scare the shit out of you. And it didn't really pertain to anything that was going on in the story. It was just this big, scary thing screaming at you just to scare you. Like, that's all it was. So if it was something like more Mortuary Assistant where you see these demons and they're lurking in the corner or like they're peeking into the window and then they're gone. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of, they're not even jump scares. They're just things that give you goosebumps and you're like, oh my God, did you see that?
Creepy
That's what makes that game so good as opposed to, hey, I picked up a piece of paper. Like, what was that? What was that? I have no idea what that was. So that being said, I did have fun with that game. I wish I had my camera on because there's just no way to not be scared by that game either because it's just so loud and random jump scares, but it was good. So if anyone's looking for a really quick horror indie game to play through, it looks good. It's a interesting story. I think it's translated from Russian, so at times the translations are a little rough, but that's not a big deal at all. And then I played Little Witch in the Woods, which I talked about in our last podcast, I think. When we were saying what we were looking forward to playing at the end of the year. I got it for Steam on my PC because I didn't realize that it wasn't going to come out on the Switch yet. So that helped my issue that I was having initially.
Yeah, you'll just get it when it comes out on the Switch.
Yeah, I probably will, to be honest, because this kind of game, I don't want to sit at my computer for a long time and play through a cozy game like this anymore. Like, I feel like I need to actually be on the couch or like in bed relaxing.
And they do make something for that.
I know. Yeah. That thing that I've been, considering buying for how many years now? 3 years, I guess.
At least 3, yeah.
At least 3 years, yeah.
Well, you can also get the Rogue Ally X if you want.
Oh yeah, that'll be cool. Like what, $1,000? No problem.
Yeah. Just cool.
Just for Little Witch in the Woods.
1G.
Yeah, it's fine. But that game is super cute. It's first person or single player only. So if anyone who really likes Stardew is enjoying playing with friends, unfortunately there's no co-op mode. I don't know if they're planning on doing one. I'm not sure. That would be interesting. But the way the story is, they would have to have a completely separate mode or tweak the story a bit, I feel like, or have you go through like an opening part where you have the story and then maybe split off into a co-op. I don't know. It's very cute, a little silly, very witchy. I'm trying to think. I haven't really uncovered a ton of story yet, but if you like Stardew Valley, it's definitely very much in the same realm. It's very pretty, and like I said last time, the colors are more relaxing, but again, very, very nicely done game. Very, very pretty game.
There's a lot of cozy games that I've been seeing coming out.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. And then I'm trying. Oh, I played a little bit more of Backroom Society, which I think I talked about last time. It's just a Backrooms game that you can play with friends. Oh, and then I played the last new game I played was called The Headliners.
Okay.
It is I guess technically a horror game. It's a big like a multiplayer party type game. I don't even know if it's worth it to play like by yourself, but you are a member of the press who are being flown in to document a monster invasion. So think Cloverfield, something like that, Godzilla. So there are all kinds of monsters. So you go into a building and they're roaming around and, trying to get you. So you have to take pictures of them, and different kinds of pictures are worth more money. And you have a contract amount to get to by the time you leave.
Oh, I don't know if you said this, but that sounds like Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, it kind of does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very silly, like that the characters are a little goofy looking. But it's very fun when you're in a big group. And it's a little challenging at times. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. I guess the games I've been playing the most are Dead by Daylight and I don't even know. I guess Dead by Daylight mainly at this point, and then Backroom Society probably next.
All right. Well, it's going to be a short one for me. I have been playing mostly Final Fantasy IX. I have made it to where the world opens up.
Yep.
You get a
Tom.
vehicle. What?
Yeah. I was going to say, let me guess. You get a vehicle.
Yes, you get a vehicle, and it opens up the world quite a bit. It's not the normal. I mean, whatever. It's a ship. I didn't get an airship. I got a regular ship.
Yes.
And I'm starting to go around. So this is the point where games lose me, where you can do all of the side stuff, and I'm trying really hard not to let that happen right now.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff you can do right now. I can do a lot of the Blue Mage stuff. There's a game called Choco Hot and Cold, which you can do also. There's a lot of that stuff, and chocographs. And so I guess I'll explain for anybody who might not know. A chocograph in this game is something where you're riding on your chocobo. It gives you an area to look, and you can dig up treasure with your chocobo. I have not done any of this. I did like one, but apparently you can do a lot, and apparently there's a lot of good equipment you can get from it, but I don't know that I have the mental capacity at the moment to do this. if that makes sense, because I don't, or time. It's really time more than anything. I want to try to do some of the Blue Mage stuff, but a couple of times I've gone to an island where you're supposed to get the Blue Mage stuff, and I've run into a giant dragon and died immediately. And I forget that I'm playing an RPG from 2000 and I have not saved in 30 minutes. So I have to go back and do all the crap I did 30 minutes ago. And anytime that's happened, I've shut the game off. I'm like, all right, I'll just try again later, because I can't put I just wasted 30 minutes. I only get like 2 hours to play. So like 30 minutes, if I wasted 30 minutes, I gotta just do so. I gotta move on at that point.
Yeah.
And when when I haven't been like getting pissed at the game, it's been great. I've been really enjoying it. Something else I have to do right now is level up characters, because at this point in the game where I am, disc 3, you have left a couple of characters out for like a whole disc almost. So they're way lower level than everybody else. So I'm also trying to catch people up and get like a party that I like. I haven't found one yet. I'm hoping that I do soon, because there's a lot of characters. I did not realize there was this many characters in Final Fantasy IX, and I think there's still more. And I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. But other than that, I've been having fun, and I'm trying to get back on track and get to the next part, because again, I've been playing this along with not to plug another podcast, but the Resident Arc podcast did a full playthrough and a full review of the game, and I've been playing along with it because I've never finished it, and I just need to get back on track so I can get back to listening to that, so I can get back to playing it and get back to the story. This happens in like I feel like it happens in every RPG. There's one area or section where all of a sudden everything opens up and it becomes, I don't know what to do, and I'm going to just not do anything and just stop, because it gets a little overwhelming.
Yeah, you're. I know you're probably transitioned into this game, so I'll give you this. It's where you're at in Final Fantasy VI, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That what just happened. So yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Final Fantasy VI, we have gotten to the point of no return. We are trying to find out all of our party members and get them back. And again, I did not realize how many party members were in Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of work to do before we get to the end. I mean, at this point right now, I think we determined that we could just go to the end, but I'm a completionist and I'd like to get all of my party members back.
Yeah, I think you have to finish what we're currently doing.
Yeah.
I think you have to get 4 party members before you can go finish the game. It's either 3 or 4, but I think it's 4.
And it would also help to have this character because of that equipment that they have.
Yeah, there's 2 more characters that every time I remember playing this game that I would go get before I start it if I was trying to finish fast. And we have not gotten. We saw one of them, but we have not ran into the other.
Yep. Well, that hopefully will be next week on the show. So I've also played a bit more of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm really enjoying that game. It's a game I can turn on, play for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and then turn it off. Like, it's not one of those. It's not super story driven. I mean, there's a story, but it's not. It's loose at best. And the visuals are great, and the music's good, and it's a game where I can just zone out and just punch stuff, because that's like the main thing you do is punch stuff and break rock and try to find bananas, and that's the kind of game I need right now, and I'm glad that it exists.
Fair enough.
What,
right?
there's a thing that it says every time you get a banana. What?
It says banana.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
It just says it in a weird way every time you get it. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I've been playing. I tried out one of the knockout mode in Mario Kart World.
Yeah,
it was okay. It was like the same thing as a Grand Prix, only it all happens in one race.
Yeah. So, hey, is there any like griefing?
I haven't run across any, but I haven't really like delved into multiplayer a ton. It's not like it's yeah.
Yeah, because I was saying knockout mode sort of invites that a little bit, you know.
Right. Yeah, but it wasn't. It hasn't been nothing crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because they don't really. There's not much in terms of chat that they can't like find the girl in the game.
Right, and it doesn't. People could just pick like a person they want to mess with, and they could do that. But for the most part, no, it's been fine. I haven't had any issues. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm hoping by next podcast I'll have a lot more done, because there's so many games I want to play. Yeah. I want to play Tony Hawk 3 and 4. I want to play Expedition 33. I want to play there was something else that just came out that I want to play. I can't even remember because I'm old and my brain doesn't work.
Oh, Tactics came out.
Tactics, that's it. I want to play Tactics. So hopefully I'll have made some progress and I'll be able to play some other stuff. But yeah. So since we were just talking about Nintendo, we may as well talk about the 40th anniversary of Super Mario. Hard to believe that Super Mario has been around for 40 years. And we've just gone through a direct for Mario himself. And I was just curious, considering none of us are 40 years old.
Hey.
What? Well, 2 out of 3 of us. Sorry, Mark. Where did you get your start with Mario? I guess let's start with Jen, because I'm sure she's going to have a much different starting point than us.
So technically, I got my start with Mario with the N64, with Super Mario World, or Super Mario 64. I did not have a console growing up. I know we've talked about this in the past. I didn't have a console growing up for a long time, so most of the time when I would play on a console, it was at our cousin's house, and they had all different kinds of consoles. But I remember booting up that game and it just blowing my mind. Like, you know how much I love open world games, and I feel like that is a huge part of why I love these games so much, because it was pretty open world for its time. But just, I loved that game. Everything about it, the music, the graphics at the time blew my mind. The fact, like I said, that you can go wherever you want on a level for the most part and figure out all of these little, secret places to go, or, you could play a level X amount of times and have all these different things that you can do each time you go back in. So that was really my first, I guess, introduction to Mario. But the first game that I personally owned was Super Mario Brothers Deluxe for the Game Boy Color. And I played the shit out of that game. I could not stop playing that game. And to this day, I love it. It's so much fun. But yeah, I guess those two games were really my introduction to Super Mario, or Mario in general.
I mean, Super Mario Deluxe is an interesting game in itself, just for the mere fact that they had to squish a full-sized Nintendo game down to a tiny square screen.
Yeah.
And they had to, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually go backwards in Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, which you can't do in the NES, which is like a big deal. It was like a huge deal that you could go backwards.
Yeah. I didn't know it at the time, but yeah, that makes sense.
Never go left. Go on the NES.
But yeah, that's a really cool, like, I feel like that was one of the first ports of Mario of Mario, because you didn't have, I think that came out before All Stars came out. I could be mistaken. But yeah, I think
I'm not sure. We'd have to look up the dates, but yeah, it's very that time is a very interesting time. In terms of those games. I 100%, I feel like, and I think there's a generation, like I'm slightly older than the two of you, so the NES was part of my life. But just going back to a gen, between the two game series is, we love on this podcast, Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time are, I would say, the vast majority of current gamers' first experiences with those franchises. Yeah, it's just wild to think of it, because we're only a few years apart, and like I played like the crap out of Link to the Past, and that was my first like experience, with it. And you don't hear, it tends to be people a little bit older than me that have that experience with that. But Mario in general, I'll just jump in with my thing, because so my first exposure to Super Mario Brothers was, we had an NES that was a family NES, and it was the rare time when my sister was a gamer, and we got Super Mario Brothers 3. I remember going to Toys R Us and picking out the little paper thing, and then taking it down to get our Super Mario 3, and took it home, and we played that thing for hours. And then it was one of the first like schoolyard thing where you learned about the whistles and learned about everything, like how the standing on the block, and it was one of my first experiences with that. And also my sister was at the time much better at it than me, which bled into Sonic later. But so playing through that, and then experience it through my cousin, ended up just getting a whole bunch of NES games, so that's how I was able to play 1 and 2. I think I played all that before ever touching World or anything, and it's such a different experience. At the time, everything seems the same. I don't know with you guys, when you're playing, like, you don't notice really the differences outside of maybe visually a little bit. I mean, obviously between 1 and 2, there's a big difference, because completely different game that we got. But like going back to it, I don't know if you guys experience this, but realizing like how short the levels are in 3. For
sure.
Because they were saying how many levels they got into it, and then you realize, they have the same like kart space, but they just made them shorter. It's essentially what they did. And you don't realize that at the time, because you don't sit there and try and figure out, how long something is. But I think one of the great things about Mario is that anybody can pick it up and play it and sort of get the gist of it. Being the original platformer, there's not much. You might have to tell them like some minor things like, don't run into the Goombas, you jump on them, and the turtle stuff and all that. And you just are able to pick it up. Like Super Mario Odyssey, friend of the podcast, Kitty Ashcat, beat like 80% of that game as a 6-year-old, because it's like the only time is when she would be scared by the bosses. Me or her dad would have to play those. And yeah, she just hand over the Switch and go, I'm scared. And then we have to beat. But all the like world stuff and all that, and all the platforms she picked up, I think that's one of the great experiences for Mario, is that it is such a entry level game that is like one of the best designed games of all time. It's like, it's kind of a kid game a little bit, in the way that, there's not much convoluted controls or anything like that. But it doesn't feel like a kid's game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game broken down into basics, right? You run left, you run right, you jump, and that's it. you jump on top of it. Like everybody, I feel like anybody I've ever handed a controller to that's played that knows that you move with the directional pad and you jump on top of the enemies. But that may also be because Mario has been around that long that it's just kind of become part of the zeitgeist, and everybody knows that because of these games. I mean, my start was with Super Mario Brothers as well. We got an NES for Christmas one year, and it came packed in with Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and 90% of the time we were playing Mario Brothers, and we learned, secrets by either getting a Nintendo Power or hearing it on the playground. Oh, you can jump on top of the bricks and find a warp zone. You can get to the fourth world. And I remember doing that for the first time and being flabbergasted. Like, what? I can skip 2 whole worlds? How is that possible?
Magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like being a kid and find out that's like awesome. It's so cool. Like, why would they put that in there? It makes Mario more interesting because there was a sense of exploration as well as it being just a easy, pick up and play platformer that you can go from the left to the right. Yeah. There's secrets to find, there's hidden stuff to find. And it kind of gets your brain working. It makes you want to find those things. Once you find one, like the hidden, I feel like everybody knows about the hidden mushroom in the first level of Mario that's right next to the warp pipe.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, like you find these things and then all of a sudden you're just jumping around every level trying to find secret stuff, and you're trying to go down every single pipe and see where it goes. It's just one of those things that they started with that and they built on it. I mean, Mario 2 was weird, and that's its own thing. But Super Mario Brothers 3 really brought it to the forefront and made it it made it what it is today. I feel like most 2D side scrollers are based on something having to do with Mario 3 or Super Mario World. Those are like the benchmarks, and a lot of people will say Super Mario World is one of the best games of all time. Yeah. And I would agree with that. Yeah, I would say it's probably the best 2D Mario game.
Yeah, this is like, there is a main difference because we've had discussions on this podcast before, specifically between the first Zelda and the third Zelda. But there is such a difference in actual movement and like play style between 1 and 3 in Mario that essentially everybody just copied 3 because it was the more like fleshed out platforming than 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
1's a little more slippery, there's different physics and all that. So it is always there's a bigger difference between going from one to the other. So, and it's not so much of it matters where you start. It's so much, if you start with one, the other one's going to feel weird, essentially. And yeah, you were pointing out, there's some difference, but I don't feel that there was as big of a difference for me personally going from 3 to World as there was going back to 1.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Going 3 to World is much more of a easy progression than going 1 to 3.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. We've been stuck in the '90s here talking about it. I think the most important thing that Mario does that kept it moving forward is like all the games we played as teenagers and in our 20s. It's what there's such polarizing feelings on Sunshine, but that was a different take on it. And then you get into probably what I would consider the best 3D platformers of all time, which are the Galaxy games. And Mario spends the next 20 years just innovating and taking advantage of all the weird stuff that Nintendo is doing with their systems. And I feel like that's the thing that's kept its longevity. Besides being the mascot, and obviously they would keep doing it, but you've seen it with other mascot characters like Crash and, even to a certain extent, I'm sorry about this, Tom, Halo, Master Chief.
No, it's no, they don't know what to do with Master Chief anymore.
They just kept it fresh, and sometimes it would miss, sometimes it wouldn't. And I feel it's very much like Mario is very much like as close to like a music band as you can get, in the sense that they didn't keep playing the same music over and over. They kept innovating and like trying to stretch out. And I think the best example of it is, going back and forth from the 2D and all, but the most recent one is Wonder is the best example of that. Just trying something completely off the wall with, the Wonder scenes and, just that world in general. And that has now freshened it up for another generation of gamers.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where some people are, team 2D or team 3D. Some people don't even like 2D Mario games, which is fine. That's why there's both. And I feel like Super Mario Odyssey kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It was a fantastic game that brought in another, weird thing you have to do where you have to throw Mario's hat and become other things, and I know we're kind of just gloating all over all these Mario games, but
it's Celebration of Mario.
Celebration of Mario. So I want to know what your favorites are. Jen, is it Mario 64? Or do you have another favorite?
I would say Mario 64. It's going to be hard to top that one for me because I have the nostalgia of being a kid and like that magic for the first time. But it's still a game that I want to play like right now, talking about it. Like I want to boot it up and play the water level. The Jolly Roger.
Want to play the water level.
Yeah.
Jolly Roger Bay.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite level. Shocking. But yeah, I don't think there's another game that's going to beat that one for me.
And that's totally makes sense. Super Mario 64 is probably one of the benchmarks for 3D platformers and adventure games. There's a lot of stuff that did right.
Yeah.
And
the camera is not one of them.
The camera is not one of them, no.
But even that is such an innovative idea.
Yeah.
That it's literally a guy holding a camera behind you.
Yeah, they were onto something for sure.
Is why it was shitty. It's like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Tom, what about yours?
My favorite Mario, I think my favorite is Super Mario World, and which is weird because it's not a game I grew up with. I grew up with 1 and 3, and I didn't have a Super Nintendo, but I think Super Mario World is my favorite. Like anytime I'm testing like lag or testing out a new thing or a new controller, I usually will load up Mario World. Just because of it just feels so fun to like be in that world. It's and I love what they did with the cape and all the other power-ups and Yoshi. I mean, that was a big deal. Like Yoshi was a huge thing. You can ride on a dinosaur. Where did this thing come from? It was a game that anytime somebody had it and I was at their house, I wanted to play it. And I'm happy I get to play it now. But yeah, favorite favorite Mario is probably that, and I don't know. I'd probably say that Odyssey is my favorite 3D Mario. I haven't. That is saying that without really playing Galaxy. I haven't played a lot of Galaxy. I played a little bit of
real good.
Galaxy 1. I haven't played Galaxy 2 at all because when the Wii was big, I was not playing video games. And if I was playing Halo or I was playing Call of Duty or something. I wasn't playing the Wii.
Yeah.
So that's why those games are kind of a blind spot for me.
Well, good news, Tom.
I
You're
know.
putting
They're
them
coming
out in
out.
the collection.
If they didn't cost $80, I would be jumping on it way faster.
And you have a Switch too.
And I have a Switch too, which has no games, and I'm not jumping on this. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah. So for me, I think when I go favorite for an actual Mario game, I may cheat a bit here, because we didn't even get into the side stuff, which there's so much of it. But I think my favorite Mario experience is Super Mario RPG. That's 100%. I was the first RPG I beat, because I played it before 7, which is one of the reasons I picked up 7, Final Fantasy 7 to be exact. Sorry, we shorthanded here. We know what we're talking about.
We all know what we're talking about.
That was the first one I beat. I had so much fun playing it. I played it on stream when the remake came out. I played it a couple more, like bits and pieces of it a couple more times. I basically get to Monster Town or Monstro Town or whatever it's called, just about, and then I quit because I don't. Just like I'm good. From that point, that is probably my favorite game. But to, I guess, lead into our next topic here, I think one of the best things they ever created was Mario Kart. I think it's a, whether or not I believe all of the Mario Karts have been the best kart racers of their generation. Everybody knows that I have a soft spot for Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. It perfected, at least early on, that kind of genre that everybody tried to sort of copy. I was trying to think of a better word, but essentially just copy. You had Crash Bandicoot had a kart, Donkey Kong had one, and then all the ones that have come since then. And it's just that Super Mario Kart 64 is like the beginning of it, and I think 8 is like the top of the mountain for a kart racer. I think 8's real good. And yeah, that might be the game that I played. I think that's the Mario game I might have put the most hours in, is any variant of Mario Kart throughout the years. And I think it needs to be mentioned that Mario has done some of the best, alternate stuff, like a lot of the sports stuff, some, not so much the recent ones, but, have been a great way of, very casual sports playing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mario Tennis and Mario Baseball's great one. Super Strikers. They're all good. I've never played a Mario sports game that wasn't good.
Yeah, some of the newer ones, Aces was okay. And my one last point, you bring up Strikers, that's an M-rated game, Tom. Waluigi crotch chops in it. So you gotta remember.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but you can unlock Mario in the GameCube version of NBA Street. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that's pretty hilarious. Something you need to check out if you haven't already. But yeah, Mario Kart, man, what a game! Considering that it's still going, and people thought it was going to be some goofy side thing that nobody ever touched. Pretty impressive. And we've seen a lot of characters over the years, and now we've got quote unquote clones like Sonic Racing Transformed, and now the newest one that's coming out. I wanted to see who you would put into your perfect kart racer. Who would be your fantasy team of kart racers? I guess we'll just go back and forth. I think we'll do like our top 3. Who would be your top 3 people who'd put in? Jen, let's see who your third pick would be.
My third pick. I think it would be cool to have a mashup with Pokemon. And my thought process behind this is that it could be a completely randomized experience where going in, you have 3 Pokeballs and you can swap between your 3 Pokemon in the race.
Okay.
So what comes along with that is a bit of a challenge. Perhaps like if you're Snorlax, you might slow down. Or maybe you're randomly Jigglypuff, and if you sing, the people around you get put to sleep for a few seconds. So I think
I
that could
like
be
that.
interesting. I don't know. I
I like
know.
that.
Yeah, they're always fun to play as in what's it called? Super Mario. Oh my God, I can't think now. I'm so tired. What's
Super
the
Smash
party
Brothers?
game? Yeah, Super Smash Brothers. Thank you. I always love the Pokemon aspect in Super Smash, so why not bring it to Mario Kart?
I like it. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Hey, Nintendo, take notes.
Take notes.
Mark, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say what I liked about and I'm gonna go more the Sonic All Stars method. What I like is when they bring something weird and from pop culture in. And nothing's been more popular over the first few months. I say let's make a kart racer for K-pop Demon Hunters.
There
I
you
think
go.
I think they would sell.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can if you have to choose one, or you can have it be like a duck hunt situation, where both of them or all 3 of them are in it, and in one cart, you can do that. But I think that's one of my favorite parts, and what I love about the announcements for Crossworlds, is that they are leaning into getting non-Sonic characters like Mega Man and the Persona people, and that I
That's
think
cool.
that's the fun part of where Sonic can separate itself from Mario is you can do some fun things with other properties that you get instead of just sticking all with Mario based things. I think one of my favorite things of all time was when they had Shenmue or Ryu from Shenmue, and he drove a forklift as his cart in that game. For those who haven't played Shenmue, there's an entire 4 to 5 days of that game, because that game is measured in days, where you're basically just a forklift operator in the docks.
And that's your job. That's
your job for 4 or 5 days. You're like gathering evidence for what you're looking for, but you literally just go to work 9 to 5, stacking boxes for like 4 to 5 days of that game. And there is a forklift racing mini game every day that you get special bonuses if you win or whatever. Yeah, so that's why I said K-pop Demon Hunters, just to get little pop culture in there.
Okay. My third pick is Kirby.
Ooh,
Kirby's
yeah.
got his own racing game, but I want Kirby in Mario Kart. I want him to be able to suck up your rival characters and either hold on to them or get their abilities, get their special items from the question blocks, because it's boring when you're playing the same character all the time and you only get certain things. Like if you're playing what's its name? If you're playing like Koopa Troopa, you only get shells and that's it. And that gets boring. I want to change it up a little bit. Kirby gives you the ability to get any special blocks. So
That'd be cool.
that's my first. All right, Jen, who you got next?
Okay. So my second pick, my second and first picks are not going to be Nintendo property, so I'm going the pop culture route too.
Oh, that's fine. We got to mix it up.
Yeah, my second pick is Sailor Moon, but like all the Sailor Scouts. Kind of like what Mark said with the K-pop Demon Hunters, being able to switch between the different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just envision them on like the hover bikes. And they could have their little quips, like if you bump into Sailor Moon, she's super whiny all the time, so just hearing her complain or cry.
Hear that, everyone? Jen says F Sailor Moon.
F Sailor Moon. Sailor Jupiter's the best. Everyone knows that.
Listen, Jen will fight you.
I'll fight you on that. Yep, you can at me. But yeah, and then they'd have the special abilities that could match their powers. Like Sailor Mars would have some kind of fire ability, or Jupiter would have. I know there's already a lightning bolt, but you know what I mean. I think it would be cute, and their bikes could match their colors and stuff too.
I like it.
All
right, Mark, give us your next one.
So I'm going to go with a current property, and this might not mean anything to you guys unless you watched me stream or have done any research into the game. But I'm going to pick Verso from Expedition 33, and his kart is going to be Eskia, the giant creature in that game that essentially becomes your airship in that game. Spoilers, Tom. But to be honest, when you immediately meet Eskia, he announces that he does that, so it's not much of a spoiler. But yeah, I think it ties into, like I said, the great part about the Sonic Racing Transformed is they always bring something from their game, if it's a game property, into the kart racer. Like, they're not just racing karts or anything. Like, Mega Man's going to be in the new one, and he's riding Rush from the dog from the Mega Man.
That makes sense.
And so that's why SKA popped immediately into my head, and you do have to pick I'm completely stalling because it's real late on his name. Ben Starr. You pick the Ben Starr character from Expedition.
I will listen to Ben Starr in anything.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I'm going to go. So I was gonna go with a easy one, but I'm gonna go with the weird one that I had picked. I want to have Potato GLaDOS from Portal 2.
Nice.
So if you have not played Portal 2, spoiler alert, at one point you pick up GLaDOS and plug her into a potato. That's what I want. I want her to be able to control a car with her mind.
I'm looking this up as we speak, and I like it.
That's a really good one.
And her main thing is to just put people down. So she's just going to call everybody bad names the whole time.
Nice.
That's what she's going to come up with, different ways of making you feel inferior. Because
a sassy potato. I like it.
Jen, have you ever played Portal 2?
No, I have not.
You need to play Portal. You got to play Portal 2. It's like $1.
Yeah.
It probably literally is $1 right now on Steam, on the Steam fall sale. So go
probably.
Go buy it.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, Potato GLaDOS.
Very interesting. I like it.
It makes me laugh just thinking about it. All right, last one, Jen.
So my number one pick is Dovahkiin. I want him to be on a crazy looking armored bike with dragon horn handlebars, and obviously a dragon shout special ability, where he's pushing people away or what have you. I just want him to be badass looking and gigantic and awesome.
I like it, Dovahkiin. This is not the first time he showed up in one of our fantasy.
Nope. I think it was Super Smash too when we were doing the battle for who would win, and I think he won. So
yeah, I think he did. But
bring him to Mario Kart 2. Awesome.
Mark, who is your top pick to go into a kart racer?
Yeah, so it's a tough one. Because a lot of the really good characters or weird characters out there is already in the game. I want to do something. I don't know if this would work, or I just want to go something completely off the wall. And I don't even know if you wouldn't even put this person in a cart and they would just run on the track. I'm going to take Bo Jackson from Technoball and make him into the kart racer, but he has no cart. He is just running on the track. He's just
running.
And you can't catch him.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. And he just knocks you off the course anytime he runs into you. That's it.
Yeah. Like he's like a super heavy cart. Yeah.
That's great.
If he gets enough head of steam, he can just knock your cart over as he runs by.
That's hilarious. All right. Take notes, folks. This is happening.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this will come as zero surprise to anyone who has listened to this podcast for more than maybe 10 minutes. My number one pick is Cloud Strife.
Yeah.
On a motorcycle, of course.
Yep.
Of course. That's
Hell
it.
Yeah.
He can't ride he can't be driving anything else. He's only riding a motorcycle. And his special ability would be to hit you with a blade beam from the Buster Sword.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I can't believe it had. I guess with Sega they try to. Well, he's a square, right? He's a square character. I can't believe he got into Smash Brothers But since that happened, maybe it could open up to other things. You never know.
Honestly, this conversation has made me surprised that they haven't done more creative characters in Mario Kart like this. Like, make it more like a Super Smash experience.
I think because Mario Kart has always been a Nintendo property only, they're trying to keep it that way. I mean, they've just recently with this one, they've expanded, like, you could be the cow from the Moo Moo Meadows level. You could be you could be a what's it called? You could be a piranha plant. You could be all kinds of weird stuff in this that you could never be before. So the piranha plant is what gave me the idea of Potato GLaDOS, by the way, because the piranha plant has no arms either. So there you go.
Yeah. If you want some good weird characters, Jen, may I introduce you to a little game called Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed on Steam?
Yeah, that's funny. I'll have to check it out.
Well, it's no joke. One of my favorite levels in that is there's a Samba de Amigo level, and it is gorgeous and fun to play on. So that's my yearly push to get everybody to play Sonic racing games because they're actually good, despite the fact that Sonic has not been good in 20 years or more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad there's other kart racers still around because like Crash Team Racing doesn't really exist anymore, and Diddy Kong Racing was a one-time only thing.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Diddy Kong Racing has never come back.
Yeah, they probably was like, we don't feel like doing this. The developers.
Well, it's also it's rare, so
Yeah.
they may just not want to do a racing game ever again, which makes sense. Fine.
Exactly.
They're also owned by Microsoft, so they couldn't do it at this point anyway. That's a topic for another day. But yeah, those are our picks for a fantasy kart racer. If you have any suggestions, feel free to hit us up on all of our socials. We're at GameVaultPod on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and YouTube, and everywhere else. So just send us a note. Who would be your favorite kart racer in this fake kart racer game that we came up with? Okay, it is time to move on to our Retro Roulette game. This week, or this month, I should say, we played Starfox for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This was an interesting pull, interesting game because we've played Star Fox 64 previously, and Star Fox 64 is essentially a remake of Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. So I'm interested to hear where you're coming from with the Super Nintendo version. Let's start with Jen.
So I was not a fan of Star Fox for the N64. It's one of Dan's favorite games ever. So it was probably offensive for him to hear me say that. But I will say I've never played the SNES version until now. I did play it on the Switch because number one, that was the easiest way for me to play it. And number two, I'm sure it's almost exactly the same as it plays on the SNES. That being said, I actually had a pretty decent experience with it. I feel like the music was pretty good. It was a little... I felt like the first person aiming was a little bit delayed, sort of, where if I'm trying to shoot at enemies, there was a slight delay in getting my my blaster in the right direction where I'm trying to aim. But I didn't overall have a super hard time picking it up, and every time that I would die, I would get better at it the next time, so it wasn't super difficult. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was a good challenge. I got through 2 levels. It's definitely a game that I will probably pick up again when I'm just messing around on the Switch and want to play something quick. It's not really something that I'd want to sit there and grind through the levels necessarily, but I was surprising myself with the fact that I was doing decently with it. I didn't realize in the beginning, and this is probably something that was also in the N64 version, you can regenerate your shield by flying through the little little circle thingies. I don't know what they're called, but so that was helpful. When I figured that out, that was definitely helpful. The little the way that the animals talk to each other in their own language reminds me of Animal Crossing, where they're like or whatever. It was fun. Yeah, I really thought that I was gonna very much disliked this one too, but I actually had a pretty good time with it. So pleasantly surprised overall.
Okay. Mark, where are you coming from with Starfox?
Yeah, so it was nice to finally have all the buttons at my disposal in a Star Fox game. For those of you that don't know, famously, I streamed the Star Fox 64 when it came up on Roulette. And that requires having the C buttons to be able to do any of the special moves. And one of the bosses requires you to do whatever the sort of go up and U-turn, I guess is the best way to describe it, is the only way to beat that boss. And when you're playing it on a totally legitimate Nintendo 64, mapping the C button is kind of tough on a controller that is not a totally legitimate Nintendo 64 controller. So I was having a little trouble. So it was nice having all the controls at my disposal, which I didn't have at first because I had forgotten that I had what's it called, made two buttons the hotkeys on my controller. And when I tried the barrel roll, I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I thought the game was glitching. I would either quick save or quick load. So there were times I'm in the middle of a fight trying to barrel roll right, and I hit it and it jumps me back like half the game. Because that was the last time I tried the barrel roll left, which is quick save. And that was fun. And so I had to go fix that to be able to actually play the game. But yeah, overall, I honestly think Star Fox 64 is a slightly better experience. Not just because of quality of life stuff and UI things that are a little bit better in this game, but at times it just felt like I had less control of avoiding danger in this game, if that's a good way to put it. I feel like you have a lot more options, or maybe the game just feels better on 64 than this. But what I do applaud it for is, the music is pretty good. The actual levels seem fine, even though they're slightly rudimentary. Trying to do the 2D and 3D and 2D that they were doing. Boss fights were okay. Again, you can't do much when you're with the limitations you have there. But I do feel that 64 is the better choice if you're going to play this. And this isn't just I think because it's like a straight remake and we can compare them apples to apples, I think 64 is the way to go if you want to play a Star Fox game. There's nothing really in this game outside of just seeing the graphical marvel that it is for the time that it came out as a reason to play this one over that. My only one weird story that I have with a lot of games I have, when I was in Children's Hospital getting one of my, I think it was when I was getting my tonsils or something out. They had a Super Nintendo there, and the only game they had was Star Fox. So I have played this before here, but it was just like, thinking back on it after playing this, it's like, what a weird game to be the only one in the, like, not even like Super Mario World, like just Star Fox. And yeah, it very much feels like a game that if it's the only game you own, learn to enjoy it and get good at it. Because I got frustrated after like 2 to 3 hours of playing it. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd have the patience for this if I had other options.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally makes sense. As for me, whenever we do these games, I try to put myself in the mindset of this just came out and this is the first time I'm playing this. Which, if I was, if it was 1995 or 4 or whatever it was when this came out, and I'm playing this for the first time, my mind is blown away by the fact that it's 3D on a Super Nintendo. Granted, now we look back at it and it's a bit of a laggy mess, but just to get it to where it is such a feat that I can't believe that they pulled it off. I really enjoyed this game. I realized when I was streaming, I was trying to play a harder mode, I guess, by not going left all the time. I think I did the hard mode, the hard loop first, and was getting smoked every time. So I tried to do the first way you're supposed to go, and it went a lot better. It is a difficult game, which is okay. It's also, the levels are not too long. I feel like in games like this, sometimes the levels just go on forever, and there's no checkpoints for it. Well, there are checkpoints, but when there aren't enough checkpoints, I guess I should say, because you could get to a certain point and not hit a checkpoint, and then you got to go all the way back. It's not like one of those shooters where if you blow up, it puts you right back where you were. It's a checkpoint based system, so it'll send you back there, which is fine. It just can get annoying when you're trying the same thing over and over and over. And it does not have continues. You have to actually unlock a continue, which I found out on stream. I did not know that. You only get 3 lives, no continues. So if you die, that's it. You got to try it again. Which is a bit of a letdown, but I'm pretty sure that that's something that they fixed in 64. But this Star Fox, I think, was a game that was kind of trying to be like an arcade, kind of not. So that's probably why they didn't. You had to unlock continues, is that you score more points. That's not something that would ever happen today, I don't think, especially in a rail shooter like that. But overall, the game looked really cool for the time. It's funny to see when you're inside and there's not enough graphics, I guess. And your ship just becomes a wire figure as opposed to being shaded. It's funny to see that. It's overall, it's, for what it was at the time, it was mind blowing. But now it's kind of antiquated, and when they came out with Star Fox 64, you kind of don't need to play this anymore. I feel like it's a cool pick up and play once in a while still, just because it's got cool music and it's not too terribly difficult. You could still, get through a couple 3 levels if you wanted to in like 15-20 minutes. But overall, I would stick to 64 unless you absolutely wanted to play all of the Star Foxes, which there's not many, which is a shame in itself. But yeah, overall, good game. It's an interesting look at the past with the Super FX chip in Super Nintendo games. Okay. Final thoughts and scores. Mark, what are you giving this game?
Yeah, so I'm going to go 3.5. I was going back and forth between 3.5 and 4. But just the lack of quality of life stuff. Like, I know it's the first shot at all this, but yeah, it was something that I did enjoy for a little bit, but didn't hold my attention, like wanting to go back to it. Which is essentially how I judge a lot of these, 8-bit and 16-bit games we play. Is, their quality usually for me depends on how much, not so much how they hold up, but how much they can keep my attention while playing it. We played a bunch of older games on here that I wanted to keep playing after we were done with it. This wasn't really one of them. I think because I was very frustrated with the damage system and lack of continues and all that stuff. Maybe I've gotten a little soft in my older age in terms of checkpoints and continues. But
they are a nice thing to have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is why for Endurance Run we're using save states, because I am not rage quitting on stream. But yeah, essentially all of that. I think the one real positive I'll give it is that it was very ambitious for its time, and you can see all of the this is obvious stating this, but you can see all the framework and all the ideas that went into Star Fox 64, which is, the better game. And that's always a fun thing for me. I like to go back and play, the older games to see where all the inspiration came from. It's kind of like why I've done the Final Fantasies backwards, essentially. I played the 32 bits going forward, and then I went back and played 6, and all that. But I feel like this is enough. And same with Star Fox 2 on, I think it's the Nintendo Classic thing, are very much, just play it for if you want to say you played everything, just the history of it.
Okay. I agree. I agree on those points. Jen, how about you?
I'm also going to give it a 3.5, which I don't remember what I gave the N64 version, but I'm pretty sure it was like a 1 or 2. This game, I actually have this in my notes and I forgot to mention it before, but like you mentioned, Tom, it kind of gave you that arcade style feel when you had so many limited lives and then it was like you got to start over from scratch. That was something that I did not love about it. So that kind of docked some points for me. But yeah, overall, I think for its time, especially, it was pretty impressive. And it does make me want to go back and give the N64 version another shot because, as you guys are saying, if that game was improving upon things from this game, then I should enjoy it more than I did initially. So I think I'm going to give that one another shot. But I agree with what Mark said too. I mean, this isn't necessarily something that I would continuously play, but I could see myself picking it back up again on and off when, I don't have anything else necessarily in mind and I'm just going through the SNES games maybe on the Switch or something.
Yeah, like I said, I agree. Pick up and play. The nice time waster if you need it. I am going to also give this game a 3.5. I'm glad we're all on the same page here.
Yeah. Yay for uniformity.
Yes, and for all the reasons that they mentioned as well, it did get docked a couple points because of quality of life stuff. There's some things that Star Fox 64 did better. I want to say I gave Star Fox 64 a 4, so
I don't remember.
I can't rank it above Star Fox 64 when Star Fox 64 is the better game.
I could be completely contradicting, hypocriting or whatever myself because I was like, 64, that's a 2. I
don't think. Yeah, I want to say I gave it a 4, but yeah, it's nice that it's in the Switch online library. It's a nice thing. Because we don't get every game, unfortunately, and it's a good one if you are interested in the Super Nintendo. It's one of the better games on the Super Nintendo. I mean, it's a shame what happened to this property and how it's not really used anymore. I think they just ran out of ideas.
I think Star Fox Adventure killed it.
Yeah, and none of the just shooter based ones did anything great either. I think the last one was on the Wii U. Could be wrong there. I'm pretty sure that's the last time we saw Star Fox, but we've seen a Star Fox more recently than we've seen an F-Zero. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. I think it is time to spin the wheel.
Do it.
All right. Another Super Nintendo game, one that Mark is very familiar with, but Jen and I are not. We're playing Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo.
Right on theme.
Right on theme. We think we plan this stuff, but we don't. It's just luck of the draw. Luck of the wheel. So, like I said, I have no background in this game. I've never played it. I own it. I've never played it. I have a bad feeling it's going to go poorly for me on stream.
It's one of my favorite highlights or YouTube shorts or whatever is from this game. It's the high and low of Super Mario Yoshi's Island, where I do this miraculous jump and because you can hold the button to have Yoshi go and like kick his legs to stay in the air or whatever. And then I land, I make the land, I go, yeah, and then I jump right into somebody and die.
Yeah.
I think our good friend Night Duck pulled that aside.
Yep. All right. So before we get out of here, we should mention that we will be doing Extra Life again this year. We'll be playing for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. It is our 10th year.
Yep.
Crazy.
It's wild to think that we've been doing this for 10 years. Now, not all of us have been doing it for 10 years. Mark has been doing it for 10 years. We have, I think it's my 8th or 9th year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Either way, it's crazy that we've been doing it this long. We've raised a lot of money for this, and I'm very proud of what we've done. And I'm looking forward to doing some more streaming this year because we're we're going to be doing we're streaming all of November, all weekends in November, I should say. If you feel like you would like to make a donation, you can find the donation link. It's tinyurl.com/GVP Extra Life 10. It will be in the description for this podcast, and you can also find it on all of our socials at Game Vault Pod. It is in a pinned tweet or comment, whatever it is, whatever it's called these days. It's you could find it there. And Mark, you'll be leading us off, correct, on Extra Life Day?
Yeah. So I'll do real quick with our confirmed streams. So November 8th, Extra Life Day, I am streaming for 12 to 18 hours. I'm trying to come up with special things to do, to make it, a little more fun and inventive and stuff like that. We've got a bunch of games lined up. That'll be like the variety day, sort of, talking back and forth. I may see if Kitty Ashcat's available to come over or to play online for some of that. And then the other thing that is confirmed that we were doing is one of the Saturdays, I am going to officially do a run and submit it to speedrun.com or link to the past Master Sword %.
Cool.
Awesome.
Let's see, I did an untimed thing playing on the Mister with the US thing. I don't know if I need to play with the Japanese, ROM or whatever for speed. And I did it in 43 minutes. Which is kind of slow. And the world record is like 22. But I can.
It's not about world records. It's about just doing it as fast as you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna practice a little bit. We might stream some of that leading up to it. But one of those November Saturdays is going to be me, at least part of that stream, doing a Master Sword run to submit to speedrun.com.
That's awesome. I have an idea for what I'm going to do during my time. Be interesting. It will be a ROM hack. I'll put that out there.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to get everybody together for a large party stream. We'll see if that happens. Everybody has kids now, so it may make it a bit difficult. But Jen is also part of doing this on her personal stream at Roxy Foxy. So if you're a follower of her and you are on her stream, she will also have links to her stuff for part of our team. Yep. Jen, I know your schedule's been a bit all over the place, but you can at least explain what you do on Twitch.
Sure. So I'm typically a horror variety streamer over on my channel. So I've been trying to play more indie games very recently because I usually play the bigger games like Dead by Daylight and Phasmo, but I'm trying to branch out to the smaller games because that's really where I got my start getting into horror and stuff like that. So that's usually what I do. But like Tom said, we are part of Team Game Vault Pod with Extra Life. So we have our own goal on my channel, but it's still going to be factoring into the overall Game Vault goal. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what both communities can do for this charity. I think we're going to smash it as always. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's always a fun time, and we hope you guys join us. We will be back hopefully in the next month for our next podcast Prime episode. Stay tuned for Mark's weekly Game Vault Pod News Hour, and I want to thank you all for joining us. So for Mark and Jen, I am Tom, and we will catch you guys in the next one.